Good morning to one and all. This is Dr. P. Lavanya, working as Associate Professor in MBA Department in Institute of Aeronautical Engineering, Dundigal, Hyderabad. In our last videos, we have seen regarding the theory of the firm, and the theory of the firm itself has given in the three important theories. One is profit maximization theory, second one is managerial theory, and the third one is the behavioral theory. Already we have seen what is profit maximization theory and managerial theory. Now we come across regarding what is the behavioral theory of the firm. So the behavioral theory of the firm has been given in 1963 by Sykert and Marchgo, which has given a step ahead. Means these are two people or a theoristic, behavioral theoristic, that Sykert and Marchgo has given a theory which is more than the importance of the more ahead features are given by the Simon. Means Simon theory of decision making is only one sort of analysis, but when you comes this behavioral theory of the Schreiter, the depth is very more with the decisions made in a large ways, or we can say the theory itself is having a lot of depth, where itself has given the decision making relating to the firm, which we can say like multi-product or modern decisions, and which is characterized by the divorce of the ownership and management. So the Simon Weil has been given the theory relating to the how the managerial skills are required. But now in this behavioral theory, Sykert has given that the two characteristics. One is the ownership, where we can say the real owners of the organization like the shareholders. And what is a divert feature, that is the management, that is group of people who are managing the organization. So what are the multi-diversified products in the firm? So these all things in a depth was given in the behavioral theory, which was given under uncertainty and in a imperfect market. Means what happens with the ownership with the shareholders along with the management decisions under the imperfect. In the perfect markets, where we can see all will go in a perfected sense or in a designed sense. But when you comes under the imperfect market, there is a lot of difference between the firms and the characteristics are differ in the market. So how the uncertainty plays in the imperfect market, we can see in the behavioral theory. And this theory has expressed as more concern relating to the decision making. So how the organization or maybe the ownership or the management both will go in the form of decision making process. Then in the objective or objectives, means decision making in order to achieve the organizational objectives, or sometimes we can say like motivations of these firms, maybe in profit or the sales maximization or satisfaction. Means the behavioral theory says that how these people, ownership and management, will behave in order to satisfy their objectives. So maybe sometimes we can say like the objectives are satisfied, or maybe motivating the internal people of the organization in order to achieve the organizational goals or the objectives like profit maximization goal, or maybe the sales maximization or satisfaction goal. So, and this behavioral theory, Sykert and March declared that where we want to develop the theory, so they want to predict and explain relating to the business decision making and the behavior. Means what sort of decisions are made by the business analyst or the people, and how they behave while behaving. So based upon their behavior, the decision to be taken into the concern. So for that, we have taken the two important ingredients or the features in order to take the business decision. So these business decision will be taken. One of the important is people like individuals who has in the organizational goals and also the individual goals. Means as an individual person, we work in the organization to meet the objectives of the organization. While meeting these objectives, the personal satisfaction or the personal goals will also be fulfilled. And the second one is defines the theory of organizational decision making, maybe where how the organization decision making will help us to fulfill the goals and objectives of the whole firm. Means not at individual point where we can go for making the decision making of the whole organization. So for that we need like what sort of decision we'll take at organizational level and what sort of decision we will take at an individual level or individual goals to be fulfilled. So site has been said that information that organizational goals are through the notation of collation. Collation in the sense we can say like a combination. We can say like the meaning of collusion is combination, combining. Means in the organization already we said that individuals will be there. So individual goals will sometimes match with the organizational goals or sometimes both will be combined in order to achieve some individual along with the organizational goals. So the form itself will visualized as a collusion of the individuals. Like in here we can say like the form will visualized how the combination of individual goals who has been organized in the sub-collusion. Means our goals will be coordinated with the organizational goals. But for us also we are having another goal, sub-goals. Maybe I have a goal of becoming as a professor or becoming as one of the member in the university. So for achieving that, I'll work in the organization. Maybe I'll increase my CV or we used to work. But along with that, sub goals will also there for me where I should complete my work, study, and my responsibilities will also be there. So here the collusion, the combination of the individual and sub goals will also there, which will correlated with the organizational goals. So here the Berman and Simon who has been assumed that the firm is dominated by the single person who make decisions and authority is unquestioned. Means here not only the organizational goals, while reaching the organizational goals, the individual goals has to be combined. But what Simons and the Berman says is that we assume that the firm is dominated by not by a single person who make his goals, who cannot be, means organizational questions, means unquestions will be there in case of authority. So here in the Sykert and March assumes that firm is in a decision entity in its own. Means a firm itself is the decision making entity for itself. Means in order to fulfill its objectives, the organization behaves in fulfilling the goals and objectives. Here they have recognized that management has to be achieving objectives or possibility of set of objectives. Means every firm while want to take the decisions, it should the management or the people who are organizing the activities will have the objectives. They has to identify or they want to achieve what the objectives the organization has kept, or possibility of set of objectives through the effort of group or persons or made through collusion. Means the organizational objectives where we can achieve by efforts made by the group or coalition. Means combination of those group or the individuals where the organizational objectives could be achieved. So the collusion consisting of various units of the practices associated within the organization. Means the combination of these, the collusion is associated with a number of things. Means the people like the organizational objectives where we can achieve by associating these parties or colluding of these parties like managers, workers, shareholders, customers, suppliers, and also the other professionals like accountants, auditors and lawyers, etc. Means the behavioral theory of the firm says that organization requires decision. So this decision is in order to achieve the organizational objectives. So once we want to achieve the organizational objectives, a set of only one individual cannot be possible. So we want some association of the people. So these association consisting like workers, managers, suppliers and all other group of people required to achieve or to make participated in the decision making. So along with that, he says that the behavioral theory of the firm where it starts is where the entrepreneur makes a contrast with the individual, whereby the latter agrees to carry out instructions and to accept the organizational goals or goals to be interpreted by the entrepreneurs. Means whatever he want to state is individual goals will be contrast. Maybe they want to contract with the individuals. Later they carry out the instructions what organization has to be done, and here the entrepreneur goals and the individual goals will be contracted with one and another. So in order to get the full support from the subordinate or the entrepreneurs, we has to go for the side payments. Means what the behavioral theory says is that individual will paves a way to achieve the organizational goals. So while doing that one, he want to satisfy the individual goals or the instructions. So when that was interpreted by the entrepreneur, maybe he is abstracting the individual goals and making to reach or to set the organizational goals. At that time, the entrepreneur should satisfy monetarily, we should satisfy the individuals through making the side payments, means giving the money at the side. So alternatively, the goals will kept changing. Alternatively, here the goals will goes on kept changing through the process of bargaining in which side payments are involved. Means here whatever we want to say is that individual requires additional monetary benefits that you will call as side payments. So these monetary benefits which will be bargained by the individual members in the organization. Here the side payments means these are not only involves in money but also not fiduciary benefits, means not monetary, non-monetary benefits like authority, personal treatment, power. So these are the another things where the individual satisfies. Why? Because as we know the behavior or the mentality of the individuals, some people will satisfy with monetary benefits through cash payments or the cash or other gifts. But some people doesn't want monetary benefits, but they want some recognition in the organization, which we will call it as an non-monetary or non-monetary benefits, like giving a good positions or a well treatment should be provided, means some recognition to be provided, or giving some power in the organization or authority. So these sort of things will help the individuals to pay away for the organizational goals. So here at the management level, already we have said management and ownership. There are the two levels in the behavioral theory of the firm, like one is management and another is ownership. So here, first at the management level, we require a side involves in the matters like outsiding the normal contracts, means where the management will take into the consideration the contract of the employees, means when employees enter into the organization, will come with contract with about their pay, like basic pay, holidays, number of hours to be worked, etc. Means while we are taking an individual, we used to have a contract where the individuals will sign their salaries, how many holidays, working hours, attitude. So each and everything we'll consider. Along with another important one, what we'll call it like a policy commitment of one kind or the other. So whatever we are saying about the contract what signed by the individual while entering to the organization is also called like policy commitment. Means what individual committed or what individual accepted in order to entering into the organization. So this is known as policy side payments. Therefore, conflicts may isolated in geographically to ensure the conflicts and arise within the units. Means there will be some deviations between the contract of the employees and the policy of commitment. So with these deviations, conflicts may be arised, but as we have seen that in the organization, so we has to ensure a system or the mechanism to not to rise the conflicts between the employees' attitudes, what they enter and what the policy has been relating to the organization. Secondly, we can say that crises and conflicts are the dealt with sequentially that could be spread out intertemporarily over the time and could be tactile as they arise. One, we can say as at the management level, a policy and the contract of agreement when they enter into the so we should take an important step there not to get deviations between the contract and also the policy. Along with that, another thing is within the organization, a number of crises and conflicts will be arises. So subsequently, we have to take a conflicts resolution mechanism over the time, and we should handle tactically whatever the conflicts has been arised. So in order to having these two types of tacticals or the maintaining this ownership and the management, the every organization will be setted with the 5 goals. So Crites and March has been postulated that firm may be pursued that the following basic common goals for every organization, whatever may be the way they behaves, that favor of the management or the favor of the ownership, but every organization having the similar goals which was given below. The first goal, what we want to see like a production goal. So production means setting the targets. So whatever the targets we have set for a period, and it will have 2 levels and smoothness, means whatever the targets we provide for a particular period, based upon its level and activity following method will be there. Maybe for example, if we divide to set up to reach a specific goals, says that production of 100 units of a commodity per day, means we have given a target for the individual in the production sector, saying that you has to produce 100 or 1000 units per commodity. So with these we can say that they are deviated with more than 10% of these figures. Means once the target was set, so the target should not deviate between the 10%. For example, I have said 100 units of production. So maybe the deviation comes maybe with a 90 or 89. Maybe the deviation should not be more. Maybe like 10% means maybe 10% increase or 110%. Maybe decrease. Increase or decrease we can have. But it should not be when I set a goal for 100. Maybe it is for 60 or 40 should not be there. Means here we have to take into the consideration a set of deviation maybe of very less, like maybe a 10% deviation must and should be there. So in this way we can say that the production goals must and should be have a targeted ones, and a little bit of flexibility should be provided while reaching the targets. And the second goal what an organization want to mention was inventory goal. So the firm has 2 types of inventories, because production and the sales are not always coincides. It is as we says that production it is within the organization perspective, but when you comes out the sales, it is within the market perspective where it was dynamic and it is also always changing. So where we can't say both should not become or hold at a one perspective. So in this way we has to hold the, when I want to see about the production, the first one we want a sufficient inventory should be hold out. And these sufficient inventory will leads to the stock of finished goods in order to meet the customer demands. Means when the finished goods stock is there, whenever the customer requires, we can immediately send that stock to the market. And when it arises, at the same time, we have to assume that there should not be no excessive stock holding at a high cost. Means in the financial or in the goals of an organization, for every organization, 60 to 70% of its capital will be struck on with the inventory itself. As we can say, like 60 to 70% will be struck on in the form of inventory. So we should not carry out the excessive inventory, maybe if there is a demand also. Why? Because sudden demand decreases, we have to sell that inventory at a lower price. So that's why when inventory cost is high, we should not hold excessive stock of inventory within the organization. So the third goal comes as the behavior theory says that sales goal. As we know that revenue is generated only through the sales of the organization. So this may be specified for the future, either may be in volume or value terms. Whenever this may be expressed, as we know the sales, we can say that in terms of volume, maybe 10,000 units sold, 20,000 units sold. We want to express in the form of units. Or sometimes we used to express in the monetary manner that 1 lakh rupees of the sales got 50,000 units of the sales has been achieved. So here the goal of the sales may be in units or maybe in the rupees to be expressed. And the next important goal of the organization is market share. So along with the revenue, organizational wants name and fame, goodwill in the market. Only once the share of the market increases, the goodwill for the firm will also be increases. So as we know that the firm is a part and parcel of the industry. If the firms get a very good goodwill, automatically the industry growth will be takes place, and at the same way the industry will also having a very marketable goodwill. So in these cases, maybe the substitute for the sales goals or maybe in the supplementary goals. Means market sales will directly sometimes deals with the selling more units like sales goals. When I received the selling goal, automatically the market share will also increases. Or maybe we will keep some sort of subsequent other goals will also indirectly increases the market share. And another one is profit goal. So nevertheless, whatever may be, we want to achieve the main aspect of the organization is the profit. Whatever the way we reach it, but the internal aspect of every firm is to achieve the profits. So setting of this profit goal is maybe of twofold. One, we measure through the profit the effectiveness of management, and another may be the dividend to the shareholders. Means profit is the twofold aspect. One, when you get a good profit, we'll say that the management is so effective. It is working very well, excellent, and getting a good profit. And these profits will also reflect acting as a source of payment, dividend to the shareholders. Why? Because real owners of the shareholders. So when they grant more dividend to the shareholders by achieving more profit, automatically shareholders and owners both are satisfied. As shareholders, we are getting the name and fame by effective management, and at the same way, the owners of the shareholders will get maybe in the form of dividend. Means name and fame to the management, and as we know, profits to the owners. So in these ways, the both will be satisfied with the help of profit goal. So these 5 are the important goals relating to the common to the each and every organization. So these goals will behavior theory doesn't want to postulate always goal maximization, but seeks the sub-optimization or attainment of goals. Means maximization means equitable distribution. So this is not at all the behavior theory one. It want what the sub-optimization goals or attainable goals are there or not. So Simon, Kreitz and Marsh, all of them states that firm will compare the performance with goals. They want to compare what is my performance, what is my goal. Means performance is reaching the goals. Means what sort of differences is there between the performance and goals. Is the larger and wide difference is there, we want to decrease that differentiation. But always the goals will be compared with their performance only. So however, the timely this could be shorted between the levels of aspirations. Means what the management organization is required. So based upon the intention of their levels, so here the goals or the performance or comparison will be taken place. However, we can say that there is a shortfall of aspiration or when goals are not met, means maybe intention of the management is not at all being done. Maybe this activity initiated the identify the cause of non-attainment. Means aspiration as one thing is seek required by the organization and the people done another thing. And this way, lot of gap will be there when we compare the performance and goal. So automatically, what happens there? So we can identify the program or the goal was not attained. So in this reason, the firm compares, and if the firm is having the goal was not attained, automatically it will take precautionary measures or the steps or maybe alternative course of action in order to perform the organizational goal. So with this, the behavioral theory also imposes the extra cost on the firm may not be carried out beyond the point of satisfactory solutions. Means while reaching these attainment and non-attainment by going for the other courses of action, where we can say that organization will reaches the point of satisfactory solution. If when you have a number of alternatives which we found in the organization, automatically we could not go for searching of additional activities or further improvements is possible. Means if one goal is not attained, I'll go for another goal. I don't want to improve this one once again. Maybe if I not perform, once again I am trying and attainment is not possible there. Why? Because a clear-cut alternative is there and I want to carry out that clear-cut alternative. Of this reason, outside the controlling of the firm, maybe we can say due to that outside, that is external controlling or the external changes in the firm, where we can say like depressed marketing conditions, when the marketing conditions are not good, going to the depression stage, where it is out of the firm's control, or maybe recession occurred in the economy. So these are the some of the things where it will be exit out of the control or the hands of the management of the firm. So here in practice we can say that there is a disparities between the actual payment made and what necessary in individuals in the organization. Means we can say like differences we can occur what actually done and what individual performance and organizational performance. However, it is not that much easy to calculate the difference of the individuals and the organization. Means these disparities easily can't be calculated. Why? Because we should take into the consideration monetary and non-monetary benefits of the individuals which coincides with the organizational goals. So in these we can say that it is really termed as calculation will becomes very tough sometimes and it is called as organizational slag. So this is very important in rectifying the non-attainmental goals. Means this organizational slag or calculation becomes side payments become very expensive. Automatically we can say that it is very difficult to calculate the non-attainmental goals. So With these, we can get then a conclusion of this behavioral theory, where we can say it's in a dynamic approaches which has been given by the site and also March. Why? Because we said it is a dynamic one, because always the behavior itself will be changing, as we found that individual criteria, organizational goals criteria, and with these criteria as management and ownership, we want to coincides with one and the another. So any one changes also, total organizational and individual goals will also be changes. So that's why we'll call it is always a dynamic one. And while calculating these changes, we have to consider the three major points of this behavioral theory. So which we can say, the first one is the goals and objectives will emerge in collusion extending at any point of time. Means organization and individual goals of a firm will emerge by collision, means a combination. Individual and organization, when both combined only, the goals will be executed at any point of time. When individual having separate, organization is having separate goals, we can't achieve the common one. That's why the important first one is both should collide in order to achieve the goals. And second one, we can say the change in the collusion. Maybe when we both collide one with another, so they will have a lot of change, individual perspective and also the organizational perspective. So at this mode, we can say that the combinations will have the differentiations, and with that differentiation should be adjusted as we want to reach the objectives of the organization as a whole. Means though while combining we get some deviations or the collisions, so which has to be minimized in order to reach the organizational goals. And third one, we can say like hence not only the different firms, different objectives are taken at a point of time. Means firms differs, individual differs, organization differs. So automatically different objectives will be there with a different modes. But the same may be different aim to reach the objectives at various period of time. So these different objectives or the different modes will pursue reach our objective at any basic of time or aim or the goals where we can reach at any point of time. So these three are the important conclusion drawing, that as it is a dynamic approach and as goals and objective of the firm to be collide, and after collusion there will be change in this combination where organization has to be incorporate the change, and with that change maybe the different objectives, different aims are there, but we can achieve the organizational objective at some point of time. So with this we have came to the conclusion about the behavior of the theory, which was given by the side March. Thank you.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.